Hello and welcome to the exclusive interview series at ET Edge Insights. Today we have with us Mr. Sajiv Nath, Chief Executive, India and South Asia region, and he's also the Regional Managing Director of Yokogawa India Limited. Mr. Nath, thank you for taking the time out and speaking to ET Edge Insights. It's a pleasure to have a conversation.
Thank you very much.
Before we get into the thick of things, we want to start by asking you IA to IEA, industrial automation to industrial autonomy. So what is it? Can you just elaborate on that? And how is an autonomous process benefiting the manufacturing landscape?
Very interesting question. I think it's a buzzword, but buzzwords also carry a lot of meaning, thought, and action actually.
Right.
So if you talk about industrial automation, it's the typical OT-IT sort of an atmosphere that you will get, where you will execute your projects as required by the operational technology, and then you progress into various aspects of data management and data information and decision making process.
Right.
When it comes to industrial autonomy, that's where the real crux comes in, because that's where you start using very great tools like artificial intelligence. You start making use of things like AI ML. You start making use of machines and robotics to actually improve your plant performance, manufacturing processes, and then start creating a smart manufacturing environment. So when that happens, you actually lead to autonomous operations. That's where human being limitations are overcome sometimes, or we use the capability of human beings to actually improve on the competency of machines and languages.
Right.
So it's an interesting gamut. So if you go into the past eras, in the past, you would always have human beings being the real doctors in a manufacturing plant. Why do I say that? If you go into the pneumatic era, from the era where I came from,
right,
in the late 80s, if you had to align a pneumatic instrument, you had to have fingers as good as a surgeon to actually implement the flap and nozzle mechanism to control a plant.
Right.
Then came the electronics era, then came the now is the digital era, and now we are talking about artificial intelligence, which is much more than what you call as the digital era. When that happens, you start giving the control which human beings are doing to the machine environment. So you basically go from complete man-made equipment maintenance to machine sort of performance, and then when it becomes fully autonomous, that's when the total environment or the manufacturing plant is controlled by artificial intelligence and also robotics and those sort of aspects. That's when you move from industrial automation to industrial autonomy. It again depends on various stages,
right,
to implement. Sometimes the requirement can be safety. Sometimes it's human intervention requirements. Sometimes it's about a critical process which needs that level of precision. Same analogy I will give it to medical equipment, because
right,
when you go for certain critical surgery, why do the best of doctors use robotic surgery to do it? Because of the precision required.
Yes.
And that's where industrial automation to industrial autonomy comes into the being.
Right. Right.
Have we done something on that? Yes, we did do it in Japan. For 365 days, it's more than 365 days now that we are actually implementing industrial autonomy into a chemical plant, wherein human interventions had to happen every 4 hours to control the process. Now it's completely autonomous operations for 365 days a year without human beings intervening.
Right.
And that means significant benefits into the manufacturing process,
right,
as well as the reduction of the human element into the manufacturing process. So I feel there is a significant advantage. Will it apply to all plants? One cannot say that, because over a period of time, it's going to evolve. Any evolution will have risk. Risk needs to be managed.
Right.
So each process is unique. So we need to analyze it And that's where Yokogawa steps in.
Right. So interestingly, you just talked about the risks, and that is where Yokogawa steps in. So with regards to security concerns, when we talk about these smart solutions for manufacturing, how are these concerns addressed, and with regards to what role does Yokogawa play in this?
Interesting. I think when it comes to risk, the first risk that comes into my mind is cybersecurity.
Right.
Everyone tries to offer a solution for cybersecurity because each person, individual, a group of individuals, a company, the country is always concerned about cybersecurity,
Right.
because I think data has become more valuable than ever, and people really want to protect the data that they are having.
Absolutely.
And they would like to share it only with people whom they feel comfortable or feel that their confidentiality can be maintained. So looking at these points, I think that's where cybersecurity aspect comes into the being. One thing which becomes critical is, I believe, most of the times we start looking at information security or the IT sort of security. One tends to sometimes forget on the OT part of things, which is the operational technology security that is required for many control systems that are installed throughout various manufacturing plants across various industries. Getting the IT-OT integration into cybersecurity becomes critical into the aspect of ensuring that the risk is managed in the right manner. And I believe that is where Yokogawa has the added advantage of actually implementing cybersecurity on an IT-OT sort of a platform. This has been done throughout the world by Yokogawa, and I'm really proud to say that our Center of Excellence for this sort of an OT-IT security environment is actually in this present office that we are talking about,
Right.
which is based in Bangalore. So it again agrees with the Indian government point of view of Make in India.
Right.
So I think that's a significant capability step that Yokogawa has done into implementing IT-OT security, not only for within the Yokogawa world, but also for a lot of our customers on a global scale.
Right. Let's move from IT/OT to smart cities. I believe that is a project which Yokogawa has been involved with the government of India. So with regards to incorporation of technology in smart cities, how do you want to elaborate this with Yokogawa's representation?
I think it's an important question, because if you really look at it, you have to really look at it from a society point of view,
Right.
and a sustainable aspect point of view. For example, there's scarcity of water. And India used to be a country which had lots of water.
Surplus water,
And
right.
today we are talking about a water-stressed country. Of course, it differs from state to state, but that's one of the critical requirements of mankind, isn't it? So when you talk about mankind with such a critical requirement, you need to actually conserve or even treat and create an environment where water can be recycled, which adds to the sustainability indices of the country or to the globe. So that's where I believe technology and society come into actually a joint partnership, because each action of technology actually creates value for the society and creates an environment where we are actually safeguarding a lot of the natural assets. I call it as the natural assets of the country or of the society,
Right.
however you might want to term it. And I think water and energy actually go a long way. And the same is the case with energy management, because if you have to actually manage energy in different aspects, you need to have the right control, you need to have the right advanced control. And also, if you really look at it, the new exercise is to create a carbon neutral world, wherein you actually reduce the amount of carbon dioxide by a significant amount, and you create a country or a global world wherein mankind can still reside in. Otherwise, we might have to find new planets to move into. And that's where I think technology and innovation actually come to jointly to actually create what I call as it's not about a smart city, it's much more than a smart city. I will call it as a smart society, or I would talk it out as a smart global world, because whether we like it or not, water and energy knows no boundaries. It's only humans who know boundaries, right?
Absolutely.
So if we conserve the total assets of the world, which I call as energy and water, we are actually contributing to the global world and to the planet.